A lady told me that she will have her son tell me what the law is and kick me out of the beach, but she doesn't know that I work with police. I used to work as a detective for a local police department, and this occurred when I was still employed there. In my life, I've always made every attempt to stay on the right side of the law, as I consider hypocrisy one of the worst traits for an officer of the law to have. I owned a nice ski boat, and in my spare time, I enjoyed taking my family to the local public lake to use the boat and tube, water ski, swim, etc. My kids were ages 12 and 13 at the time, and they really got a kick out of this. They wanted to go nearly every day off I had all summer long. One day, we were at the lake, and after a few hours, my daughter mentioned she needed to use the bathroom. The lake also had a public swimming beach that had public restrooms, and we would often take bathroom breaks there. We would pull up to shore well away from the marked swimming area, and we'd disembark to use the facilities. One day, as we pulled up, I noticed a lady on a lounge chair, sunbathing on the shore near where we pulled the boat up. I stayed about 50 feet from her, still about 250 feet away from the swimming area, as I slowly maneuvered the boat towards shore at idle. As I got close, she stood up and glared at me, while my kids whispered to me that they knew her as a mean lunch lady from their previous elementary school. As I brought the boat up to shore, this woman started yelling very loudly that I was breaking the law. I smiled, and as friendly as I could, I said, "Really? What law?" She continued yelling, saying that I was driving a motorboat in a swimming area. I pointed to the marked swimming area about 250 feet away and asked, "You mean that swimming area?" To which she replied, "Yes." I told her that I never entered or even got close to the swimming area, and that my boat was right now as close as I got. She said the law prohibits boats from pulling up to any shore. LOL, how do you get in or out of a boat? Swim? And now she was calling her son, the deputy, who was going to get me in trouble. At this point, I was starting to enjoy this a little, because I thought for sure her son, the deputy, would tell his mom that she couldn't stop me from pulling my boat up to shore. I stood nearby as she calls someone, assuming her son, on her cell. She then reads the person on the phone my boat hull number. It's like a license plate for boats. Then she says, with a smirk on her face, "My son is going to order you from the lake, right now." And what happens next shocked me. This woman calls me by my full name. Then she hands me the phone. Now, I should say, what has just happened, is a clear, very clear, violation of the law. In my state, it's known as a line violation, and police officers' deputies are very often charged with this crime. I read about it several times a year. If an officer uses his police computer to divulge personal information, say a deputy tells his mom the name of the registered owner of a boat that she is having a disagreement with, for example, it is a crime. No ifs, ands, or buts. Every cop knows this. So as I take the phone, I immediately say, "Who is this?" I hear, "This is Deputy so-and-so of the county sheriff office," and I immediately interrupt him and say, "Deputy, do you know what a line violation is?" Several seconds of silence. I say, "Deputy so-and-so," using his real name, of course. "Are you still there?" He says, "Yes." So I again say, "Deputy so-and-so, let me ask you again. Do you know what a line violation is?" He stammers out a reply about boat hull numbers and public records or something. I said, "Nope, that's not what a line violation is. Since you don't know, do I need to remind your supervisor what a line violation is?" Again, silence. I then said, "Tell you what, I'm going to hand this phone back to your mother. Then you're going to tell your mother to leave this beach right now. Then we can all forget this ever happened. Understood?" Long silence. "Understood?" He does a long exhale and says, "Yeah, okay." I hand the phone back to his mother. She whispers into the phone for a few seconds, then angrily snaps her phone shut. Without making eye contact, she packs up her stuff and is gone. I thought about reporting him anyway, but technically I was the victim. Yet I wasn't feeling victimized at all, LOL, so I let it go. Only one other time did I see the lady at the beach again, and as she saw me, she again immediately packed up her stuff and again left.